Hypixel SkyBlock is a grind. To keep up with the late game, you basically need to spend all day farming, mining, slapping mobs for combat XP, foraging, fishing, maintaining minions, flipping on the Bazaar, changing Reforges, running dungeons. That much grinding is enough to give anybody a headache, especially people like me that spend 8 hours a day playing this game on average. Now, why is that? Well, it's actually because of blue light. It's special wavelengths of light that will cause damage to your eyes from any screen. Turns out there are products that are made specifically to block out these blue wavelengths. So today I'm going to show off the GMG Performance Optimizer glasses. These are really neat because, again, it blocks out that blue light and it allows me to satisfy my unhealthy obsession with Hypixel SkyBlock. Anyways, they sent me a pair of their glasses and I'm going to show you guys a rare look at my actual face. These are some really nice glasses. They don't change the way the game looks at all, and you honestly forget they're there, but you're not hurting your eyes in the process. So yeah, pretty awesome. Anyways, if you want to get yourself a pair, you should visit the link in the description down below. And if you get yourself a pair of glasses before November 1st, then you will get 40% off on your purchase. Anyways, let's get on with the video. Hey guys, I'm back for another video and welcome to Hypixel SkyBlock. And today's going to be an interesting upload. We're going to talk about the history of SkyBlock. For those of you that haven't been around for a while, I am one of those players that's been around since day one. I actually was introduced to this game by Fezzy, which you guys, I mean, if you don't know who Fezzy is, first of all, welcome to the channel. You should sub. Anyway, I've seen it all, and I experienced firsthand what it's like when updates go well and when they don't go well. Typically, the SkyBlock community is known for overreacting when updates don't quite go as they expect them to, and, you know, 90% of the time, in the end, you know, it's a good thing that this update happened. It was genuinely seen as a valid addition to this game, but you know, in the few days following the update, there's always an outcry, and it's quite funny seeing the reaction that comes from some of this stuff. Anyways, in today's video, we're going to talk about the most controversial updates to ever grace Hypixel SkyBlock. So, without further ado, let's go. So going back all the way to October 27th, 2019, the Spooky Festival was introduced in Hypixel SkyBlock. This is an event that, as you can see over here, on launch week had multiple events per SkyBlock year, but typically it is a once a year deal in the fall of each SkyBlock year. When the event is active, if you kill any mobs, you get a chance for those mobs to drop candy, and you could then spend those pieces of candy at the Fearmonger NPC and then purchase talismans, whatever. Anyway, when the Spooky Festival first released, there was a very large outcry. Things don't go quite as smoothly as they do nowadays, mainly because the servers were not ready for it. SkyBlock was a very young game mode. It had only been out for a couple months at that point, and Hypixel simply didn't have the capacity for this sort of thing. So as you can imagine, having a 1 hour long event in any game that has limited server space is a bad idea. If you're running a server network, typically you would want to spread out when people are online to, you know, make the most use of your server space. But Spooky Festival threw all that out the window and was like, hey, let's get all of our players online during this same time for a whole hour. So yeah, the servers were not ready for that, and it caused all sorts of lag. People couldn't log into lobbies. The entire server was in lockdown, basically. If you were to try teleporting to a hub, you'd get errors. People couldn't go back to their islands because everything was just dying. Mobs were difficult to kill because, again, everything was like 3 seconds late or more. Sometimes lobbies would crash. It was bad. And also, there was an even worse controversy when they tried to address this by making it so that during Spooky Festivals and during updates, for the first few events, they made it so that it was ranked players only. Nons could not log in during maintenance or times of high stress like Spooky Festivals. This spawned the Non-Lives Matter movement, which is extremely cringe. It spawned a whole lot of hate and talks about, you know, a pay to win, but you know that we're actually gonna get to that in future updates. But anyway, Spooky Festival caused a lot of drama, which has since faded away. because nowadays there's enough server space for it. They've actually updated Spooky Event to be a bit better. Next one's December 4th, 2019, the removal of the Piggy Bank bug. This one was fun. So back in the day, the Piggy Bank used to have a different function. Nowadays, if you look at one, it has the ability to save your coins from death, and it will break, and if you were to say fall in the void or die with more than 40,000 coins in your inventory, then the piggy bank will break and you will not lose coins. What it used to do was, it was basically this button right here. The piggy bank was a personal bank, except its intention was only to deposit coins. You couldn't withdraw, but there was a bug where if you were to click into the deposit menu and then you were to click back, it would bring you to the withdraw menu. So it was basically a portable bank NPC, which was huge because there was no other way to do that back in the day. And then of course, when they fixed the piggy bank, they fixed that bug so that you could no longer withdraw from the piggy bank. They also changed it so that in order to deposit or withdraw from the bank without going directly to the NPC was to go to an NPC named, I think it was Guy. Yep, so here's Guy. And as you can see, you could purchase the personal banks here. But that caused a lot of drama because people were pretty pissed at the time because getting coins was not easy. Snow minions didn't exist. Clay minions weren't really all that popular yet. Well, in December, they were starting to become popular, but getting coins was difficult. People were focused on progression, and then suddenly losing the ability to access your bank without teleporting to the hub made people angry. And, you know, spending multiple millions of coins just on easy access doesn't seem like much of a big deal now, but again, coins were worth a lot more back then. So, the forums they went alight with all sorts of posts saying this game only caters to late game players, the early game is screwed, blah, 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 blah. Another interesting one was on December 20th 2019 when everyone's snowsuit helmets vanished into thin air. So they made an update after the Jerry Island came out where of course you would get snowsuit armor, which would give you an ability that allows you to basically have infinite snowballs. But anyway, snowsuit helmets right now look like a player head that's custom textured. Back in the day, it used to just be a leather helmet. So for one reason or another, they decided to change the snowsuit helmet to be a mob head instead of a helmet. And that ended up in an unexpected bug that basically just deleted everybody's snowsuit helmets. This caused all sorts of problems, as you can imagine. They were just vanishing straight out of people's inventories, and they ended up giving almost everyone on the server a replacement snowsuit helmet, if I remember correctly. The same thing also happened with tarantula leggings or something. I don't know how that one worked because, you know, it's not a different item, but it was tarantula leggings or boots. I don't remember. Something like that happened as well. February 6th, 2020 is a date that is seared into the brains of everyone who plays this game, and that's because that was the third and final attempt by the Hypixel staff to fix the slime hat glitch. It's a little bug that the way it used to work is you would basically put the slime hat on your head and then immediately replace that with some talisman. Typically people use the piggy bank, and then you swap again to your main helmet. What it would do is you would have anti-knockback without the stat debuff of sacrificing your helmet slot for the slime hat. So this bug had been around for months, and the admins tried multiple times to fix it. One time it resulted in this really weird bug where you were able to basically just put blocks on your head. I remember, like, I was able to put a slab on my head, an anvil, and it looked like a mohawk. It was very weird. But anyway, the third attempt to patch the slime hat glitch was unsuccessful because it resulted in the famous Piggicle dupe. Now, what is the Piggicle dupe? Well, the way the glitch worked is that if you were to have no helmet on and then you shift right click on a backpack, I think it was something like that, then you would open its inventory while simultaneously placing it into your head slot. Now what this did is it allowed you to open the backpack, but it changed the slot in your inventory. So basically you were able to access the backpack's inventory, and then once you close that inventory and reopen the backpack, all of your stuff is still there. causing a massive dupe. The entire server went offline for emergency maintenance. Every single player that was online at the time was basically blocked from SkyBlock until they figured things out. It was a massive mess. Hypixel ended up losing his YouTube rank temporarily because of it, because by accident on stream he tried to troll people by advertising a fake dupe, but it turned out that his fake dupe was real. It was really unfortunate timing on Pig's part. Obviously, he didn't intend on it, but it did result in all that craziness happening. Oh, and by the way, as of recording, the slime hat glitch is still possible. It just requires a much more sophisticated process to get it going. I'm not going to tell you how to do it because I don't want to get banned or my YouTube rank removed. But yeah, it's a very stubborn bug that they still haven't been able to remove in over a year. On February 26th, there was an exploit that basically allowed you to get this super glitchy item called the banner. And it's not like a typical Minecraft banner. Dio actually made a whole video on it. I'd suggest watching Time Dio's video where he showed off the crazy effects of these banners. It would basically pick up the terrain and move it around. All sorts of graphical problems. It could crash players. And that right there is the most dangerous part. You could crash players with banners. Now, this wasn't a problem. These banners had been around for months and months, but only a handful of people had them because of a dark auction bug, and once that bug was fixed, no more could be made, so there was no problem. But on February 26th, 2020, banners were reintroduced to the public because of the Oringo event. So the traveling zoo, basically, there was this weird bug where any person that was online at the time of the start of the event, it would spawn Oringo's tent on your private island. And since your private island doesn't have any build protections, you could just use the telekinesis tool to pick up a banner, and then boom, you have a super glitchy item that could crash players. And people were starting to put them up on the auction house, and anyone that's playing in 1.8.9 would be able to search up banners in the auction house, and since they're playing 1.8.9, they would crash immediately. Now, theoretically, if someone were to get a banner into the top of the auction house, it could crash every single player that logged into SkyBlock in the hub. Luckily, that didn't happen, but yeah, it caused all sorts of problems and drama because people kept getting crashes. They didn't know how to log into their island because they didn't know that banners crashed people when they picked them up. So it was a mess. March 9th, 2020 is a date that I will never forget. It was the day when they added the Bazaar NPC to SkyBlock. This caused all sorts of drama. We all know that Bazaar is a great feature. It makes the game so much more fun, in my opinion, as long as it's not abused to skip all the way to late game. But as a late game player, I enjoy Bazaar. It's a great feature. It basically lets you buy and sell items in bulk. And basically, the drama came not from the addition of the Bazaar, but the nerf to NPCs that came along with the Bazaar. So if I were to go to an NPC and then go here, purchase, I don't know, you could buy 10 stacks of any material like ice, and it will say you can only buy up to 240 of this item per day. That used to not be a thing. Before Bazaar, you could infinitely buy from NPCs. And with the addition of the Bazaar, basically what happened was people used to be able to run nothing but snow minions or clay minions and get infinite money, and there'd be no reason to run any other minions because you could just purchase the materials from the NPC. For example, from the mine merchant, gold, iron, coal. If you were to go in here, people could just buy infinite flint from Pat, and it was ridiculous, especially the adventure NPC as well. You'd be able to upgrade all sorts of minions, craft all sorts of items with infinite purchasing power from these merchants. But anyway, yeah, there were people that claimed that the Bazaar was going to ruin the economy and it was just going to make the game worse. Obviously, that's not the case. The Bazaar made it so that any item in this game could spike in value, it could become profitable, and it spawned all sorts of money-making methods, and it made the game a lot more interesting than just clay or snow minions. So that's really cool. But anyway, yeah, lots of drama, and there was an additional drama that relates to me because it just so happens on my solo profile that I wanted to go for 24 minion slots. Now, I was like, all right, let's just purchase all the materials from the NPCs. Turns out, though, I didn't know about Bazaar when I did that. I upgraded all my minions, got 24 slots, cool. And then like 2 days later, I was told about Bazaar an hour before it released, but unfortunately, in the episode that I uploaded showcasing that stream, Fezzy left out the part where I said I was told about the update 1 hour in advance. Basically, all I said in the episode was I heard about the update early, and then people started theorizing, and then there was this massive forum post accusing me of using pre-update knowledge to get Minion slots for way cheaper. Because one thing about the Bazaar is it made everything super expensive. Like, it would be much cheaper, tens of millions of coins cheaper, to do what I did through the NPCs at the time before Bazaar came out. But of course, I didn't know. I was just at the right place at the right time, but it caused all sorts of problems, people accusing me of cheating or whatever, even though that's not the case. But misinformation. One of the funniest examples of an update causing drama was on March 12th, 2020, when they made a change to the dark auction. So it turns out there was this trend back in the day, especially when YouTubers are in the lobby, where people would bid them up endlessly just to get people to pay more than they want to for an item, and then they would leave the dark auction just before the timer ran out. And what this would do is it would make them exempt from the auction. The previous highest bid would become the highest bid, and people used to troll this way. So if I were to bid someone up, for example, for a spirit mask, I don't know, I originally wanted to pay 1 mil, some troll bids 1.5, I bid 2, they bid 3, I bid 4, they bid 12, and then I don't bid anymore, and at the last second they leave the dark auction, leaving me behind paying 4 million coins for an item that I only wanted to spend 1 million for. Anyways, these dark auction trolls had a rude awakening when on that day they updated the dark auctions so that if you were to leave a dark auction lobby, you take the item with you. So yeah, overbids, complete. It's amazing because you just leave a lobby and then immediately you get the item and you pay your coins. So yeah, because of that update, the dark auction trolls got defeated. They spent billions of coins overpriced accumulatively. People are spending 9 million coins for a flower minion when it was like 2 million at the time. People are spending like 150 mil on a Midas sword because they intended on leaving the lobby. It was beautiful. I personally I relished in the fact that these trolls were losing billions of coins because I hated dark auction trolls. It was especially evident with YouTubers in the DA. It didn't happen as much. Well, it did happen a lot, don't get me wrong, but it was a guarantee that it would happen in a YouTuber lobby, so I was very happy to see that happen. There were 2 updates that caused some drama, most specifically on May 13th and June 2nd, and that was the addition of fast travel and the wardrobe. So fast travel, I'm using SBA, would basically allow you to teleport to specific points in SkyBlock. For example, I just teleported to the top of the spider's den. Then I could click on this and go straight to the dragon's nest. This one especially caused drama. But anyway, these 2 features are restricted to ranked players. The wardrobe, of course, allows you to store different armor sets and then equip them separately. Now I'm in my dungeon set. I go here. Now I'm in my farmer boots. But anyway, yeah, these 2 features caused a lot of upset in the community. People were crying, pay to win. Even though they're both QOL features, you could still play SkyBlock absolutely fine without these features. But yeah, again, pay to win was not a problem with these updates compared to later. Another update that actually got me pretty pissed at first, but turned out to be all right in the end, was the Reforge update. This was a rebalancing of the Reforges in SkyBlock, and for months people were not looking forward to this happening. Basically what the update did is it changed the typical Reforges that everybody would use to make it so that there's more variety. And as you know, as you could see, it's been quite a while. That was pushed on July 1st, 2020, so we've had about a half a year since that happened. And I could say with confidence that the system's better now. But back in the day, people used to use talisman spamming to get crit chance. Now, obviously, crit chance isn't something you see on talismans anymore, because the only way to do that is with the unpleasant Reforge, which, no matter the rarity of a talisman, only gives you 1 crit chance, which is trash. But anyway, yeah, also Godly used to be the Reforge for every single piece of armor Oh, also unpleasant. My farmer boots to this day are still unpleasant. I haven't changed it since that update. That's really funny. I didn't even think about that, but yeah. You can't even get unpleasant on armor, I'm pretty sure, anymore. All the universal reforges didn't work on armor anymore, and then fierce became the best one for typically. But now reforged stones exist, and especially with talismans, like right now you'll see that I have shaded on all my stuff and strong for the higher tier ones. Also, silky was very good. But yeah, there's variety in reforges now, but back in the day that caused a lot of drama. July 7th 2020. This was my least favorite of all of these. This is the one that I'm still a little salty about to this day, and that's the release of the Dungeons update. I made a whole video rant talking about why Dungeons wasn't that great, especially on launch. It's gotten a bit better since then, but I'm just gonna make a long story short and tell you to watch that video. But to summarize it in a few sentences, it took too long to come out, took away developer attention towards the rest of the game, leading to what I call the content drought. Only a small amount of players are actually active in dungeons at a time, only typically 5% of the active player base at any time. And that's for almost 10 months of work, you know, and the rest, like the other 95% of the game, basically got ignored, minus very small QOL updates and a lot of these other things I've been telling you about. Also, nerfing the Bonzo staff, replacing it with the Spirit Scepter, was a slap in the face to anybody that spent 25 mil just to get a weapon to use in dungeons, and it killed Superior and Mighty's prices. So it was just lots of drama, but apparently if you complain about dungeons, people hate on you, so it's just bad. The drama was very bad. I do think dungeons are getting better though, but it's a slow process and it's still taking way too much attention from the developers. Anyway, moving on. On July 15th, there was a ban wave for IRL traders, boosters, cheaters in general, and actually they banned too many people. So it turns out that if you were in a co-op with someone that was cheating, or if you were in a different co-op with someone that's cheating, you would get wiped as well. Even if you were completely innocent and on another profile, you got wiped. It was bad. I would say tens of thousands of players wrongfully got wiped. They actually had to go back on this and completely retry the wipe process. But yeah, a lot of people got false wiped. A lot of people were pissed. I bet a bunch of people quit SkyBlock because they didn't know they were going to get their islands back. But it was bad. On August 13th, there was the hub change. So the hub that everybody had known and loved got replaced with this. I actually like the new hub. I don't see why there was that much drama. I think, as with most of the outcry from these updates, change is bad is basically all that's going through their mind. But yeah, I like this new hub. The old one wasn't bad, but you know, I don't know. It's pretty inoffensive to me, but there were a lot of there were a lot of threads on the forums basically saying that this was evidence that SkyBlock was changing and that it wasn't going to honor the ideals of back in the day. And speaking of that, we're going to get to the last and probably the most controversial of all these updates, minus dungeons. And that's the community center update, because I mean, do I really have to explain why it's controversial? It added cookies to the game. It made it so you can buy cookies and sell them at Bazaar, effectively making it so that you could skip the game's progression by buying coins. But it turns out that actually didn't affect this things all that much. It did get people mad though, and that's the point of this whole video. I don't think the community center update was a bad thing for SkyBlock. As a matter of fact, it might be one of the most important updates for this game in general, because it basically means that the staff can afford to have more developers and game designers. So it was a good thing 100%. But yeah, again, lots of drama. Well, anyway, that's it for the most controversial updates in Hypixel SkyBlock. Now, I have a lot of respect for the devs. I think they do some great stuff. Although I disagree with how much effort they put into dungeons for only 5% of the active player base to be in it. You know what? That's fine. Everyone makes mistakes. But Hypixel is, for the first time, reaching a mainstream audience with a game like SkyBlock. They're reaching record numbers every day. And you know what? These little bumps in the road might seem pretty scary at the time, but it turns out that all of these updates in the end were for the better of SkyBlock. And I for one appreciate all these updates, and I'm glad to see that everything happened. Except dungeons.